is going on, everybody? It is episode 548 of Pop Culture Crisis. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy beginning of Lent as well. I've got some ashes on my nose, so before anyone points it out, I acknowledged it. It's there. I know. I just don't want to rub them in and make it worse, so that's just what we have for today. Also, we're left to our own devices again. Yes. No guests here on Wednesday. That's fine. We can just, go rogue.
That's what we're doing.
Make this into a gossip podcast. That's what we were joking about before we went on air.
Well, you were spilling tea on people who shall remain nameless for now. But we got a bunch of stuff to get into today. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a lot of fun. I did put up a poll, ladies and gentlemen, because as I said before, Happy Valentine's Day to you all. It's the hallmark of all Hallmark holidays. I said, what's worse? Galentine's Day or Friendsgiving? And a lot of people don't actually know what that is. Do you want to explain to people what Galentine's Day is?
I'm surprised that some of you haven't heard of Galentine's Day, but it's just Valentine's Day for single women getting together as friends and coping about the fact that they are single.
Coping-times Day.
So, yeah, what does it consist of? Because I've never done a Galentine's Day thing. I guess they just drink wine and watch Bridget Jones.
Well, so I saw a couple of people who I will
read horoscopes.
I will let those people remain nameless, but I saw a couple of women on social media that I know that are in relationships doing Galentine's Day yesterday.
Okay.
That just seems very selfish.
So it doesn't require you to be single.
Guess not.
That seems like it should be a prerequisite for Galentine's Days. You have to at least be single, and you should be female.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That too.
The gal part implies that.
What about
unless it's Gal Gadot from the chat?
Glamping. What do you think of glamping?
Even worse. Glamorous camping. It's all so stupid.
Glamping isn't glamorous enough for me. No. I just want to be indoors.
Well, nowadays glamping can go away because the middle class have their own version of glamping. It's called van life, except for it's like a glamorous. It's like van living. You know, that's another one of the YouTube short segments that I get a lot of. There's a lot of people who build out buses and a lot of people who build out vans and stuff like that. And I autistically watch it and enjoy those.
You want to live vicariously through
Yeah, well, I don't have any desire to live that way at all. I don't want to have to use like a Cabela's parking lot as my sleeping grounds personally. But that's just
Cabela's?
You know what Cabela's is?
No.
It's like an outdoors. It's like a store for people who hunt and fish and.
So it's like REI?
Yeah.
Okay, I had never heard of that before.
Yeah, there you go. Never heard of Cabela's.
But Friendsgiving, you guys know what Friendsgiving is. Yeah. We told you about Hanksgiving, which is even worse than Friendsgiving.
No, Hanksgiving's better.
But I'll be interested to see where this poll goes.
We'll have to wait and see. We got a $20 super chat here from Corey Anderson. Says, "Did Mindy come find you?"
Y'all just cannot get over this bar fight story. It's like really not even that interesting or funny. Yep. But no, I've never seen her since that day. Eventually.
Hopefully
not.
And Bass Pro Shop. So Bass Pro Shop, what is the one that has the giant pyramid that's just in the middle of the U.S.? Is that Bass Pro Shop?
Yeah, I forget where that is.
It's like Tennessee or something like that?
Texas, I thought.
Guys, where's the gigantic pyramid Bass Pro Shop? Can somebody let me know? You'll have to let me know.
Can you go to the top?
I remember it got brought up on IRL sometime recently because somebody mentioned like there's no such thing as like the pyramids these days, and Serge is like, oh, that's where you're wrong. So somebody will have to let me know where that one is. It sounds awesome. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we do, would you guys hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here already? We have passed 100,000 subscribers, which is fantastic. We are working our way now to 101, then 102. And so on and so forth. We're going to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
We should hunger strike.
Oh, man. So you were explaining to me the other day about the Harvard students hunger striking. And I was just like, isn't the whole point to just basically emotionally manipulate people into saying, give me what I want or I'm going to die?
Basically, yeah.
Because I was like, oh, they drink water too? And you're like, well, yeah, they drink water, they die. I'm like, isn't that the point?
Well, I mean, you can go longer without food than you can without water, obviously.
Correct.
So
look, I saw some of those people. All I'm saying is they could have used a hunger strike. It's like me. I could use a hunger strike.
Yeah, that's why they call it the freshman 15, and then you get the sophomore 30, the junior 45.
The freshman 15 has less to do with food and more to do with alcohol.
That makes no sense to me, though, because you're walking everywhere in college, more than you ever will for the rest of your adult life, and you're only 18.
The water weight of the alcohol is worse, is just worse than the food.
I don't know.
Yep.
The overabundance of food in college was mind-blowing for me. I didn't like it.
Weren't a fan?
No.
No? All right, guys, we got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but like I said, hit the like button in this video, subscribe if you haven't already, share the video with your friends. Remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. We will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there, and then we will do our best to get back on topic. Again, it's a two-person show here today, so, if you got questions, comments, concerns, just throw them our way. Maybe
we're all alone, so leave us a comment. We're very lonely.
I think I'm alone now. Yeah, I think we're alone now. All right, let's go ahead and get started then, shall we? We had a bunch of stuff to get into. First things first, we got a piece of Valentine's Day news from the cast of the Fantastic Four. It has been announced that they have settled on the stars of the movie. So Pedro Pascal will be playing Mr. Fantastic. Vanessa Kirby will be playing Sue Storm. Joseph Quinn will be playing Johnny Storm. And Eben Moss-Bachrach will be playing The Thing. The first thing I thought of with this was like, Pedro Pascal is literally the safest person you can cast in just about anything.
Why?
They just go with Pedro. Like, when in doubt, go with Pedro. I don't know exactly why. I don't really feel like he's actually all that much of a draw the way some people do. But what's interesting is because I still think of him more as like a television dude than a movie dude. Does that make sense?
They're trying to AstroTurf him right now. And you know what? They also hype him up.
Vanessa Kirby, I think of as a movie star.
Well, yeah, because I remember her from, no, it wasn't John Wick, was it?
No. But
it was Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning. But they hype up Pedro Pascal as this unbelievably smoldering, sexy hubba hunk. And I'm like, he's literally not special.
Hubba hunk.
He is so not special. He's not attractive. Like, at least to me. If any of you disagree with me, let us know. But I don't understand the thirsting.
But
the
I don't
thirst
think
TikToks and the edits. And then on SNL, all of the skits are like written around him being so hot.
Yeah.
They did the same thing with, no, it wasn't Timothée Chalamet, was it? With Jacob Elordi. They wrote all of the SNL skits about how hot he is. I'm like, are you trying to convince me?
Is there an actor that you would say like qualifies as that for you?
I mean, like, I don't have a celebrity crush other than Tucker Carlson, so I mean, like,
I'm not saying like necessarily have to have a crush on the person,
but
I'm saying somebody
someone who's objectively attractive is like Henry Cavill. He's objectively attractive.
Yeah.
So if like we don't need to talk about how hot Henry Cavill is all the time because it's already just a given.
Yeah.
But Pedro Pascal is like way overhyped. Like they gas him up too much. His ego's too big.
I am happy to see Eben Moss-Bachrach get work. I think he's great. But this is funny because, like I said before, I don't think of like Pascal, Quinn, or Bachrach as like movie stars per se.
Joseph Quinn was like an ancillary character in Stranger Things.
And I was looking at the cast of Superman Legacy because Superman Legacy actually comes out 2 weeks before this movie, so they're going to both be out in the same month, July of 2025.
And that's intentional.
Yes, and what's funny is I was looking at this cast, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, Corn Sweat, I'd never heard of before. It is really funny to watch. This dude is just hitting the HGH super hard. It's awesome. The dude's just enormous now. It's great.
Gay Twitter is obsessed.
Rachel Brosnahan, Millie Alcock, I guess, like, again, high-level TV actress because of House of the Dragon.
$20 from that pie over there. Breaking, 2 Mad dead at 23 from an overdose. A trusted source confirmed it. Turkey Tom, but I haven't seen other media sites other than TMZ cover it yet. If true, rest in power, man. He had so much more comedy gold to make.
I'll have to look that up. Look it up and we'll talk. Perhaps we'll have to talk about it tomorrow. But like, there's so many overdoses these days. It's insane. It seems like drug overdoses are becoming even more common than they ever were before.
Do you mean among celebrities?
Yeah, I mean, well, in general, just because that's where the news I'm consuming is. It's in general, it's more common these days because of fentanyl. But Millie Alcock, again, like television star, but a high-level television star because it's House of the Dragon, so that makes sense. Nathan Fillion, high-level television star, has starred in things for years. Firefly, he was in Castle, and now, of course, he does The Rookie. And, of course, he made an appearance with James Gunn because he was in The Suicide Squad. But Ed Gathegi, who I really, really like, again, television dude. He was in House. There you go. You got your House reference for the day. He plays a Mormon dude in House. like a Mormon perspective hire for him for like 7 episodes. But he was in a show, The Blacklist. He did like 12 or 13 episodes that I really liked in The Blacklist. And then they had a failed spinoff called Blacklist Redemption, which actually wasn't all that bad, but then just didn't even make it past like the initial first half a season. But all of these other ones, Isabella, is it Merced? She was in, I believe she wasn't in Bumblebee. She was in Transformers The Last Night. She's playing Hawk Girl. So in general, like they're going in a direction where it's not like they're picking big name actors to do most of these roles. What people wanted was for John Krasinski to continue to play Reed Richards because he did it in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. But I don't think they could probably afford Krasinski anymore. He probably costs too much.
Yeah, they're kind of cutting costs by choosing these TV stars, I guess.
Yeah, and then
but John Krasinski is moving toward being a producer director, right?
Yeah, I wonder if he wants to go. I mean, because I wonder if he like wants to go the Taylor Sheridan route. But he doesn't. I don't know if John Krasinski writes. I know he produces. I don't know if he writes.
I thought he wrote A Quiet Place.
Did he write it or just direct it? If he wrote it, then he could absolutely looking to be going the Taylor Sheridan route. Albeit, like he probably doesn't have the same. Like Taylor Sheridan has a very like defined aesthetic. Of like what he's going for, and this type of art that he's creating has like a niche that they found because Westerns are back in Hollywood. So in general, the things that he's creating or producing all kind of fill this like this hole in Hollywood that needs to be filled, meaning like the actual stuff for men. Whether not just Yellowstone, but like Special Ops Lioness, which albeit I didn't like and had a bunch of girl bossness in it, was still a show that's aimed at men, and Tulsa King is very much aimed at men, and Mayor of Kingstown, like all of these things.
He aims things at Republicans.
Kind of, like in a lot of ways. He had a really, like I said, he had a really, really good interview with Joe Rogan. He's very, very down to earth given his level of success.
Or is he just good at seeming
If he's good at, I mean, that's fine with me.
earth.
That means he's doing his job right? But he talked a lot about, because he started as an actor. He was on Sons of Anarchy in the first 2 seasons. So he was a fairly accomplished secondary character actor before he ever made it into producing. And I would imagine that a lot of these bigger actors, like a Krasinski, once they get their foot in the door and they can afford to do this, you'll notice this a lot now when a bigger actor goes to network television or stars in a show on cable. You'll a lot of times see that they're a producer right off the bat, which back in the day, that's not what would have happened. They would have started producing the show in season 2 or 3. It's a way to help renegotiate their contract to make them more money, right? But a lot of them, they're just investing in these projects right off the bat because financially it benefits them and they have the capital to be involved from the beginning. But as far as the Fantastic Four goes, I don't know how much it's actually going to help what's going on right now in Hollywood, given the fact that people keep talking about whether Deadpool is going to save the MCU. And I don't think that going to the Fantastic Four or focusing on any of these Marvel characters that were formerly owned by 20th Century Fox, I just don't think any of it's actually going to help Hollywood. It's going to help Marvel right now.
From Organized Business Services. Sorry, guys, about hating online about Alex Stein, but when a guy trolls AOC and says nice booty on the Capitol steps and then tells about his body count in front of you, Mary, if I want to see pigs, I'll watch whatever. You guys are not pigs. Okay. I do remember that conversation.
Did he give you his body count? Thank you.
Thank you. When Tyler Fisher was here,
yes,
you guys started going on about that.
Yeah. Well, they're never going to know mine.
Yeah, you keep it close to the chest. But yeah, Alex Stein literally said his body count. He looked at me and was like, "Is that high?" I don't know what to tell you, dude.
Him and Tyler Fisher were both talking.
Yeah.
It's funny. Look, I look at when you look at somebody like Alex Stein. What I like about him, he's very much a character. He lives the character.
Yeah, I don't know why he gets so much hate. I find him very likable. He's off camera, he's definitely more calm.
And he's an entertainer, and he's got a niche, and he's got a thing that he's got a marketplace that he fills for people that like that type of content. But the thing is, stuff like that is definitely not always going to be for everyone. Mm-hmm. So the best thing you can do is if it's annoying to you or it offends you, it's just not for me.
Sure.
Whatever. It's all good. All right, let's go ahead and move on then. We'll have to wait and see. And I'm not going to lie, and I know this is a bit I looked at the casting for this, and I was like, wow, there's minimal race swaps here.
Well, Pedro Pascal is
iffy. But in general, the fact that they're making a Superman with Superman, Lois, and they haven't, and from what I remember correctly, they're not race swapping Jimmy Olsen. That's crazy.
Well, they're getting rid of the original cast in DC, so they couldn't push it too far.
Not even really that much, because they're keeping James Gunn's wife. They're keeping Solo Mariduena. They're keeping all of these, like a bunch of these actors who only had a couple
the
of
nobodies.
outings. Yes.
But when you get rid of the favorites, you can't go race swapping all the others.
They also can't afford them.
Yeah.
They can't. Like, imagine trying to afford Henry Cavill now. Like, I don't think DC could do it.
Henry Cavill would do it, though, for less than he deserves.
Probably.
He has heart.
He's too much of a good guy.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on then, shall we? So I just thought this was funny. It was a summation of what the box office looks like right now. It says, what a time to be at the multiplex, which made me laugh in and of itself.
Wait, what does that mean?
What a time to go to the theaters.
Is it called a multiplex?
Maybe they're British.
Okay.
Maybe they're British.
The cinema.
It sounds annoying.
Poor Argyle with 32% from critics.
Lisa Frankenstein with 50, Bob Marley, One Love with 39%, and Madam Web with 18%. It dipped as low as 15. As far as I know, it hit the same score as Morbius, which, by the way, same writers.
Morbius still had a 71% audience score, though, which is crazy.
We're seeing that more and more. We're seeing a lot of things where, like, the audience scores don't feel like they dip that much. Because the thing is, the movies are so expensive to go to begin with. Like, you're going to, like, lie to yourself.
You are, yeah.
And you're like, I liked it.
If you're the type of person who goes and rates movies on Rotten Tomatoes anyway, you probably will overrate them. Yep. So I don't trust either score.
Yep. It's funny because I just don't feel like I see the audience scores dip as much as I see the critic scores lately. Mm-hmm. So... and that
what was the sentiment you were seeing about their costuming?
Oh, okay. So yes, this. I wonder if I could find. I thought I sent it to you at one point. It's had it up here.
You know, the big question is, why do they dress so sexualized on red carpets when they're promoting these movies? Yeah. But in the actual movie, they deviate from the way the comics were, and they wear these very not masculine, but.
They're just not hot.
They're desexified.
Yes,
basically,
like very,
they're
very
desexed
severely
in the movie.
And what I thought was funny about that was, like, I was listening to people give like this, and I don't even have it. I had it pulled up earlier.
Well, basically, they said, you know, it's fine for them to choose to dress sexy on the red carpet, but if they had to costume them as sexy, that would be forcing them to be sexy. So that violates their autonomy.
They referred to it as it took away their agency to do that, which of course is absolutely ridiculous. And everybody knows that that is absolutely ridiculous.
When you said that, I was like, I'm not even going to justify that with a response.
Yeah, I wish I had it here, but it was really,
because you're obviously too far gone if that's what you think.
Yep. So we're going to be, guys, by the way, we're going to Madam Web tonight. Have no fear. It's going to be us and like the two other people who got tricked into going to the theater tonight. It's going to be great.
It's
we're excited.
By great we mean not great.
I'm so excited.
By excited we mean not excited at all and contemplating ending it all.
It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be great. See, I'm tricking myself into it right now.
It's just, you said it right. It's not going to be so bad it's good. It's just going to be bad.
What I found for me is that as long as I go into a movie expecting it to be awful, it makes it easier. If I go into a movie and I'm expecting it to be good or even just average and it turns out to be awful, that's way worse. Like when the only time that I can think of where I went into it expecting it to be awful and it was as bad as I thought was Indiana Jones. It was Dial of Destiny, which I went into expecting it to be bad, and it was bad. Most of the time, if I go into it expecting it to be bad, I'm like, oh, you know.
Just set the bar in hell.
Yes. Basically.
And they'll rise above.
We're going to have to wait for that tonight. So, all right. Let's move on. So, if you don't know, there is a Michael Jackson documentary coming out, a biopic, and this is his nephew who is going to be playing him, Jafar Jackson.
And I didn't know that when I first looked at these photos.
Yep. The second one is Michael Jackson. This one up here is Jafar Jackson, who will be playing him. And there's a picture of him not in costume.
It's from the side profile, so we don't know how his face is going to look. Yeah. And I was worried, like, how are you going to fake plastic surgery on someone who hasn't gotten it, and how are you going to race swap someone who's already black?
I wonder if it's a part of it's going to be like they'll do a lot of it in post, because adding makeup won't really work for his nose because his nose was shaved down, not.
Well, if you look at the side profile here, it looks like they added like putty to the end of his nose to make it like more pointy on the tip of his nose. So they basically Bradley Coopered him. but
not as noticeable as Bradley Cooper, but yes.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. It's a very good. I mean, it's a good likeness from the side.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I thought it was a good likeness from the side. I'm not super interested in watching most of this. What I find funny is like Michael Jackson is one of those people that always defied the idea of cancel culture. Like nobody really has a problem listening to Michael Jackson's music, despite claims against him.
Well, the claims against him, I feel like in pop culture, people just assume they were false, which is like they don't even look into it. And I know that isn't Styx one of the people who
he's got a long
defends
video
him?
series. You should watch it. It's a multi-part series.
I know a guy who knows a guy who went to Neverland Ranch and saw fingerprints on materials that no one should be in possession of because that's a crime. So that's all I'll say about that.
You'd think CGI would do the majority of the work for this, right? Somebody said the CGI will do the heavy lifting. I think that's what they'll end up doing.
Then it'll maybe look pretty uncanny valley, but you're working off of they have a resemblance already.
That's the important part. As long as the underlying architecture has a certain similarity, it'll have less work to do. So we'll have to wait and see. All right. So Josh Brolin did not just write a poem.
He's a menace.
He did not just write a poem about Timothée Chalamet. He also decided to write one about Florence Pugh. Do you want to read this?
Yeah, sure.
You're a better reader than me. You can read it.
Where she looks matters, even with a sparkling veil over her face. Her eyes shine a mischief that's hidden by her soft orange laugh, always a laugh at the ready. A sun rises by a man lifting it over his head behind her, and her shimmer on this stage becomes its own performance, though she is unaware. When Marilyn Monroe comes onto the silver screen for the first time, you know immediately that she will rise like this sun on this stage until someone or something calls for it to stop. Like Marilyn, and even surrounded by the star-studded cast of Dune, you can feel her cells preparing for a thinner air, a higher ground. Her talent becomes her. She lies down between shots, splayed in her princess regalia. We are all tired, but she lies there without worry, and her composure is one of easy royalty. I think with this character either rubbing off or being incarnate already, she's destined to a lava that nobody eventually will even dare approach.
I love it.
I'm gonna puke.
By the way, it was Razor Fist, not Styx, who did the...
Oh, okay, Razor Fist, yes.
I misspoke there. Thank you, guys.
They both wear leather jackets, right? I messed up.
I just love the idea that the only way this could be funnier is if he's actually missing call time. Like, he's missing call times. He's like, I can't. I'm writing the poems right now.
I think that...
Did he write one for Batista? I want to know if he wrote one for Batista.
Mr. Brolin, we need you to stop with these poems.
Yes.
It's making everyone feel uncomfortable.
And why didn't the director get one?
Well, maybe that's not out yet.
He'll do that one last.
Someone commented, this is like the good version of what Jared Leto should have done instead of that BS he did from Suicide Squad.
That's a good idea, yes.
What was, I mean, do you mean the roadkill?
Yeah, and the used condoms and the stuff that he was sending the crew members to terrorize them.
How about neither?
Yeah.
Let's do neither.
Let's just go to work and go home when we're done. How about that?
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. Mm-hmm. So yes, just beware if you have anybody at your work who writes you poems.
Beware of Josh Brolin.
Yeah, could be weird. All right.
There was this awful magazine cover. This is a tale of two magazine covers.
This is Kristen Stewart on the cover of Rolling Stone, where they didn't even change the font for the name. And it says, Kristen Stewart, uncensored.
And here she is wearing a leather vest with a mullet and grabbing her jockstrap.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to think that this is sexy, I guess.
I don't actually know what it's supposed to mean. I'm assuming that you're right in that.
And then you said that the title of this interview was Kristen Stewart Uncensored. I want to do the gayest thing you've ever seen in your life, unquote.
Correct. I think
she's just obsessed with proclaiming that she's gay. Like, we get it. You're gay. Thank you. But she's not even gay.
You still had an affair with that director.
She had an affair with the director of Snow White and the Huntsman, which just ruined that movie for me. Disgusting. Yeah. And also cheated on Robert Pattinson. Yeah. Thank you, Trump, for standing up for Robert Pattinson at the time.
The hero
he needed it. He was the hero we needed. And then we also found this cover on GQ of Cillian Murphy Looking like the cool divorced aunt who lets you and your friends drink beer as teenagers because she'd rather you do it under her roof.
It's very 70s.
This is like not as bad as what they did to Harry Styles on the cover of Vogue, but still pretty bad.
I think with the Kristen Stewart one, if Phil was here, he would talk about how they want to destroy beauty.
Well, Kristen Stewart wants to destroy her beauty.
Yes,
that's the sad thing.
Like in this case, you have an art director who chose this, likely this theme and these outfits, and the thought
process was, we're gonna make it gay, really gay.
They want to destroy everything that is feminine beauty.
Yeah,
and then they want to make the men
masculinizing the feminine women and feminizing the masculine men, and that's just
right here. You know what
we're supposed to clap.
You know what they're doing right here? They're like, you will not make any Shelby Sigma memes. All of the Shelby Sigma memes will be tossed out. They will never be remembered. You will no longer be allowed to like Peaky Blinders. This is what you get.
I hate it.
That's what you get. Yep.
Drink. Mary said she hates something.
There you go. All right. This is
Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day, guys. So
warm your heart.
Cop dresses as a teddy bear and lures suspect for arrest. This is in Peru, by the way. Okay. They're doing better than we are here in America, apparently. Let's watch this clip.
So it worked.
It worked.
Bruh.
Very unassuming.
They're just allowed to do whatever they want.
I like it.
Bruh.
The best part is he doesn't take it off when they're like going through the drug hall.
The teddy bear suit stays on during the drug raid.
Yes.
Bruh. Are we even allowed to look at this?
This is the best part.
No.
He's still got the mitts on. Could be a real bear. He's got opposable thumbs.
King shit.
Best thing I've seen all day. Best thing I've seen all day.
That's great. Did you see the unrelated, but did you see the story about this kindergarten teacher? Or no, it wasn't a kindergarten teacher. It was like a principal of an elementary school that was doing a shooting exercise with the students who are like 4 to 6 years old and like going around with finger guns like, boom, you're dead. Boom, you're dead. Scarred them for life.
I did see that, what was it, like a school in, it wasn't Oklahoma, but like there was a school that has brought back like, just like target practice and shooting as well. General firearms maintenance and like.
At a high school?
At an elementary school.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep. All right. So it's not just that, guys. It is Valentine's Day. And Mary found this and she wanted us to go through some of these. So these are, what, last minute Valentine's Day cards that you can get?
Yeah, TMZ made some pop culture related Valentines.
Can we go full screen for this? I don't know if we can go full screen for this.
I'm not sure.
No, it's not letting me go full screen. All right, so
let me in your square pants.
Let's not.
Ariana Grande loved that one.
Yes.
Let's spice things up. Okay. Let's PDA like Timothée Chalamet. Oh no, I drink your bathwater.
Oh.
Gross.
He really does just look like Ezra Miller if he was like a bare
if he had a normal
boxer.
haircut.
Yeah.
Skip the K-pop one.
Okay.
I don't get that one about Jacob Elordi. You are Knuff.
It's so weird of all the celebrities to have like a weird renaissance in their later years that it's Jennifer Coolidge.
Well, she's in White Lotus.
Yes. But
that
she's having
sense.
a whole, she's Stifler's mom. I mean, really what she is she's from American Pie, but she's having this whole, resurgence. We got a $20 one here from Carnell. Says, breaking news, shots fired at the KC Chiefs championship parade.
What?
Don't worry, Taylor Swift isn't here in Kansas City, and Travis Kelce is also fine. Unfortunately, there may have been an attendee hurt.
Wait, are you guys just trolling us at this point with the breaking news?
I have no idea if that's...
I never know whether to believe you.
I don't know.
That's crazy, though.
Yep.
Maybe we'll look into it and talk about it tomorrow, maybe.
She was born cool.
This one is pretty good.
Pretty good.
I hate the Courtney one.
Ooh.
These are awful.
Yep.
You're the Ben to my Benifer. Okay, we're done.
Okay.
We're done.
But it's not just that. Mary also found this, this is the saddest thing I've read all day. Do you want to explain to people what this is?
Yeah, situationships are ruining Valentine's Day for a lot of people. So Dumb Bitch Capital LLC on X decided to put out a PSA for girls who are in situationships, what their protocol is for Valentine's Day to get him to commit. Finally, here it is. Ladies, if you're in a tricky situationship and haven't heard from your fella yet today, here's what I want you to do instead. Turn your phone off at 6 p.m. whenever you get off work. He'll probably text you tonight, but by then it's rude, disrespectful, and too late.
I'm sorry. Okay, let's stop there before we go on. The most unrealistic thing in this whole thing is that she's expecting like internet addicted, phone addicted women to turn their phone off at 6 p.m. That's laughable. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that would be too big of an ask.
If you use the term situationship, unironically, you're addicted to your phone.
Yeah. So here's what you should do. Treat yourself to an expensive workout class. Oh. That way you can distract yourself and feel a superiority complex over those gluttonous couples that are about to waste $600 on dinner tonight.
So much copium being huffed right now.
I mean, I know there are some higher end restaurants, but where will a dinner for two be $600 tonight? I don't know.
Nowhere around here.
Make yourself a lavish dinner to enjoy while you watch whatever chick flick you want. Buy yourself an exotic fruit that you've never had before. Buy yourself flowers tomorrow. Text him back if he texted you tonight. But don't act bitchy. Act normal and polite like you don't care. But respond slow. If he didn't text you at all, do not reach out. On Friday, post a picture to whatever social you have him on with the flowers subtly in the background. You want to imply to your situationship that you were busy on a date with somebody else without being too obvious. Let him know you're desired. He will commit within a few weeks. You're welcome.
This would never
He will
work.
not commit.
He will not commit.
If he hasn't committed yet, he's not going to commit. And how delusional do you have to be to think that your situationship is going to be zooming in on the background of one of your selfies?
Yes, he's not going to look at the flowers in the background.
Nor will he care if he does see the flowers.
Yes. Also, my favorite part is the expensive work. The expensive workout class is just the most metropolitan bullshit I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, like we don't all live in New York City. I mean,
yes. Yes.
Go to Equinox and then buy yourself something so that you can fill the void inside of your heart that will never be filled.
Somebody in the comments says 6 p.m. is way too early.
To
turn
wait,
off your
what
phone.
do you mean?
To turn off your phone.
Oh, okay.
I like this comment in the chat. Not Yo Cheese says, "Why do people act like they're the main character in rom-coms?" It's really funny. So I was looking at something. I think it was a comedian said like porn sets unrealistic standards for women. He says, "So what? Rom-coms do the exact same thing for men."
I think that rom-coms can't exist in the age of social media.
But we've still got a whole generation of women who have been ruined by the expectations of Disney movies and rom-coms, who expect their romantic life to go the way of a film, and it's just never going to happen that way.
Well, what was worse for women? Disney princess movies or whatever Disney is shitting out today, which just shows that you should aspire to be independent and you don't need no man.
Probably the first one, because they actually have had people watching them. The second ones, they don't. Nobody's even watching them anymore, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch Disney princess movies, but I still don't think they had that bad of an effect on romance.
But rom-coms do set unrealistic expectations because people can't separate art from real life, and you should be able to understand that it's never going to go the way it does in a movie.
Well, they don't. Your life isn't going to mirror the plot of a rom-com, obviously, but the basic premise stays the same. It's like most rom-coms have the female protagonist who you know, she feels like she goes unnoticed or she's underestimated. People don't see anything special about her. And then this Prince Charming comes along and he sees what's really special about her and sweeps her off her feet. That's a good thing to put in movies.
And I'm not actually being serious. I don't actually think that the originals are worse for you than the second ones. I was making a joke about how nobody's watching the modern ones anyway,
No,
so
they're
it doesn't
not.
actually matter. But when I think about this stuff in the way, it's kind of the same trope. My favorite thing is in movies and television shows when the ancillary character just shows up to finish somebody's sentence. For instance, if you're watching a police procedural and somebody says, "Oh crap, we're back to square one," you know that a character's about to come from off screen and say, "Not quite yet," and then drop a piece of expositional information that you need. Real life doesn't happen the way it happens in movies. It's never going to. And romantic comedies are probably to women what porn is to men. It sends unrealistic expectations for how you expect relations with the opposite sex to go.
Hyperborean scholar replied, "More women should be like this instead of clingy. They'll definitely get a man. Problem is, most women don't have this discipline." What happened to men asking women to be more direct?
I thought that was important.
I thought that men couldn't take hints.
Yes.
Therefore, this would be futile. But
Those
who am I to say?
those arguments would probably come from different sections of the feminist movement.
The truth is, even if he did notice the flowers in the background of your selfie, he assumes that you were with another guy on Valentine's Day, that's going to cause him to give up, not try harder.
Yes.
To get your
at least
attention.
these days.
These days.
Also, and it's because they've been told if you keep pushing, you're a bad person.
Right.
So why would they keep trying?
These days, that's unfortunately the case.
All right, guys, let's go ahead. Let's move on then, shall we? So there was a little bit of a hullabaloo going on the other day, and it involves Beyonce because she has a couple of new songs coming out, and she's releasing a country album. Well, now that those songs have come out, one of them is entitled, what was it called? That one was Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em and 16 Carriages are her new songs.
These songs have been released on Spotify and iTunes, and now people are requesting them to be played at radio stations. The problem is, one very specific radio station, there's actually two here, said that they got some requests and now they're being called racist because they said, look, we're a country station. We don't play Beyonce.
Well, of course, they weren't aware that she is making a country album. I find it incredibly sinister that Beyonce is trying to infiltrate country music as a genre and as its own culture because her fan base is obviously totally separate from it. They don't understand it and they hate country fans. Just like the rest of the entertainment industry.
The worst part about this is like when people talk about how when Donald Trump said everything woke turns to shit, this is actually what he means, which means this is like a group of ready to be offended fans who have no interest in your genre of music are all too happy to come attacking your genre because they want to find the perceived slight and everything, and they're already biased against both your genre and the culture around your genre because of how they believe you feel about them. Not even necessarily how you actually feel about them. But what's funny about this is TMZ was on the case and seems to have figured out why
they solved the mystery.
They solved the mystery, and they have exonerated the radio station. So it says a small-town Oklahoma radio station is under fire after a listener accused it of purposely barring Beyonce's new country songs, but the whole thing has been totally warped and, in fact, is now resolved. Here's the deal. Someone on X hopped online Tuesday claiming that KYKC, a local country station in Ada, Oklahoma, I don't know if it's pronounced Ada or Ada, has told them they refused to play Beyonce's two new singles because, quote, they do not play Beyonce.
Right. So she posted the screenshot of the email saying, "Hi, we don't play Beyonce on KYKC as we are a country music station. Thank you." They posted this with the caption, "I requested Texas Hold'em at my local country radio station, and after requesting, I received an email from the radio station stating we don't play Beyonce. This station needs to be held accountable for their blatant racism and discrimination against Beyonce. This is absolutely ridiculous and racist. You guys should be ashamed. I grew up listening to your station." They're trying to cancel
right there. The second
radio
part,
station.
The second part there, the I grew up listening, that is a tactic, okay? This person likely never listened to this radio station in their life. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. But this is what they do, right? They come in, they say, I've always been a part of this group, but now you need to change what you do to cater to me, even though I've never had a problem with it before. It's a tactic.
Obviously, The truth is that this radio station wasn't even aware she released country music.
Yeah.
They didn't have
Why
the
would they
access
assume?
to the songs yet because they release on streaming before they're available to be played on the radio anyway. And then they caved into the pressure and tweeted, lots of calls coming in for Beyonce's Texas Hold'em. It's coming up in minutes, and they played it yesterday afternoon. And they still got hate from the Bey-hive swarming them in the comments. Don't try this again. Get ready for her country album.
Dude, that is insane.
Now, was that so difficult?
Don't try this again is a threat.
Another said, why did it take backlash for a country radio station to play a country song that's climbing the charts?
By the way, guys.
Will Lana Del Rey have the same obstacle?
This song-
Get it together. We aren't here for any anti-black racism in country music, which derived from black musicians.
The song is not country. Just because your song has a twang in the background doesn't make it country. It's closer to gospel than it is to country.
It's also just not a good song.
And it's just both of them are. The second one is mildly better than the first one. Texas Hold'em is really bad. The second one is mildly better, but they're not country in general. And a lot of people feel this way about people that are a lot closer to country. Like there's plenty of actual country purists who don't like someone like Sam Hunt because they essentially see it as just pop music with a mild twang.
Right, but I mean, genres evolve. A lot of people say that about Jason Aldean.
Yes.
They say that about Morgan Wallen, but these are people that are regularly played on these country stations. But if you listen to Beyonce's song, trust me, it's not country. And also, it's just not a good song and has unnecessary swearing in it. It's kind of meant to be choreographed to like a Beyonce line dance. Like,
yes.
Here are some of the lyrics. This ain't Texas, ain't no Hold'em, so lay your cards down, park your Lexus, and throw your keys up. I'll be damned if I can't slow dance with you. Come pour some sugar on me, honey, too. It's a real-life boogie and a real-life hoedown. Don't be a bitch. Come take it to the floor now.
Okay, so this is what the station's general manager said, we are a small market station. We're not in a position to break an artist or help it that much, so it has to chart a bit higher for us to add it, said Roger Harris, the general manager of Southern Central Oklahoma Radio Enterprises, SCORE. But we love Beyonce here. We play her on our other top 40 adult and hit stations, but we're not playing her on our country station yet because it just hasn't come out. This is the problem. People don't go to the logical first conclusion. They have to immediately assume the worst possible outcome, that there's some hillbilly whatever that's keeping them off the radio.
There's hillbilly Trump supporters that are controlling country music.
And everyone knows that that's not how the world actually works, and that's not what even the email wasn't rudely stated. They just said, look, we don't play her here. Whatever.
It's like, don't assign malice where ignorance
Hanlon's law
is more likely. And the Bey-hive is scary. It's just, no matter what Beyonce does, no matter what shitty music she releases, they will hype it up. Even though it's just so obviously bad, I've never understood why she's so hyped up. And just objectively, like, I'm not a Swiftie, but she's compared to Taylor Swift a lot. Taylor Swift has better music and better country music. I should say that. And also, this is at the same time that Lana Del Rey just announced her next album is going to be a country album. Yeah. And immediately, the race hustlers jumped on that. And they were like, Lana can't write real country music because she's from New York and Beyonce is from Texas. Mm-hmm. But they're going to hype up her country album because she's white and she has white privilege. When clearly, like, Lana Del Rey just has way more versatility and talent.
Yeah. They go on. What's funny here is I don't think that this station manager is actually doing himself any favors when he goes on. He says
they don't know what they've started.
He says, I've heard that the songs are leaning towards being country music, and I like that, Harris said. I think that's cool because we get tired of playing the same old beer drinking, truck driving, things like that. Stop it. Right now, you are going to do exactly what everyone else in your position does, which is you're going to make the people that actually support you mad at you. And the people that you're catering to aren't actually fans. You're ruining your own career, possibly, by doing this. You're looking for the phantom audience. It doesn't exist. If Beyonce tomorrow said that country is the worst thing to ever happen and it's the devil, every single person that right now is saying that her album is great country music would stop listening entirely and would throw you under the bus as a racist, sexist bigot.
Right.
Stop it.
Right. They're really shooting themselves in the foot.
Yes.
I hate the self-flagellating. Like, you're a country fan. Just be proud of that.
That's all you have to do.
they're shitting on their own brand, basically.
The thing is, though, is nobody's willing to admit that certain things just appeal to certain people. Everyone has to look to widen their demographic. I really do think that's where a lot of the problems, like, we can get into the nitty gritty of the ideological reasons why so many things have gone to shit lately, but a lot of it at the corporate level, at the financial level, is just this myth that you're going to bring in new audiences by trying to appeal to everyone. But anybody with half a brain understands that if you try to appeal to everyone, you end up appealing to no one, because it's amorphous and empty. It's
I just know that, like, okay, Beyonce's previous album, Renaissance, is completely like gay nightclub dance music that they're like sniffing ketamine to and doing all sorts of debaucherous things, which I will not name. Yeah. And now all of her white male gay audience is going to hijack this as they're now part of country music. And they're going to start wearing like slutty assless chaps and watching Brokeback Mountain about it. It's just disgusting. And this is why I find it particularly sinister that she's trying to infiltrate this genre right now while hating the audience. And it's the same thing Maren Morris did before she made her dramatic exit out of country music, because they're so misogynistic and they're so racist. She's already played on these country stations.
Yes.
So she just doesn't deserve the airtime.
The only rap artists that should ever do country is, of course, Bone Thugs and Harmony with the masterpiece Ghetto Cowboy. It's a fantastic song.
Think of an R&B artist that would try to do country music. They would get laughed at, right?
It's easier for a country artist to cross over, I suppose.
Could a country artist try to do R&B music? A white country artist try to do R&B or rap without getting laughed at?
Tim McGraw and Nelly did a song together back in the day.
And it was a mistake.
Yes.
Some artists can seamlessly shift between genres, but Beyonce doesn't have that talent.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
She's been overhyped and overpaid for too long, and it's over for her, is what I'm saying.
So you know what that means? We need a Ben Shapiro country song to really even out the scales.
Yeah, he said his rap career is over. He didn't say his music career is over. So he could have something up his sleeve.
Somebody in the chat, let us know, what would Ben Shapiro's country name be? Or his country album?
I wish I were clever enough to riff on that, but I don't know.
We'll have to wait and see. All right, what would you like to see, Mary? Would you like to see Cringe, or would you like to see Cute of the Day?
Let's see Cute first.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead and let's do Cute first. We got a couple here. This first one I submitted, ladies and gentlemen. Bucko wants to wish all of you a happy Valentine's Day.
Aw. He loves sleeping on the printer.
He does.
I think it's because the printer's nice and warm.
It is. And it's right in the sunlight there.
Yeah.
It's perfect for him. Looking adorable. He's actually screaming happy Valentine's Day to you.
That's sweet.
It's very adorable.
Happy Valentine's Day, Bucko.
Let's do one more here. This is from Lindsay Tatum. It says, Happy Valentine's Day from Eddie and Baby Joe.
Love the sunglasses. Very cute.
So he says, Ben Chap's hero. Rusty Wire. Bighorn Benny.
Oh no, I hate all of these.
Wild West Bank. All right, this is from Lindsay. So thank you, Lindsay, and a happy Valentine's Day to both Eddie and Baby Joe.
A 10-gallon yarmulke?
Yes.
I would love to see it.
All right, let's go ahead and look at Cringe of the Day. You submitted this one. This says, we're talking about the same count, or...
My line in college was, hey, I'm trying to sleep with everyone on my dorm floor. Do you want to go back to my place?
Did
and
that
it
work?
worked.
Oh my God. Holy shit.
My line in college.
So they're wearing their body count on a sign around their neck. Hers is 60, and then the next guy just walks up with 1,500 plus.
Did that
it
work?
worked.
Oh my God.
He needs to be tested for over 1,500 STDs immediately.
That's very, very possible. Also for her, I'm sorry, but her line only works for a woman. That line doesn't work for men.
I mean, obviously.
Yes.
But she still thinks it's something to brag about, which is cringy.
All right. Let's move on then, shall we? Let's go ahead and get started. Why don't we figure out just when it was that Disney became political, Mary? Mm-hmm. And I don't actually agree necessarily with the conclusion here, but it's very interesting to see some surefire evidence from Bob Iger about when he makes that statement.
Yeah, so Christopher Rufo is the journalist who initially broke the story about Disney's Reimagine Tomorrow conference, where one executive was saying they intentionally insert gay themes into children's entertainment. But now he's revealed a new, never-before-seen clip of Bob Iger essentially admitting to making Disney into his political weapon after the events of January 6 in 2021. This is from, I guess, a Zoom call. It looks like it's from inside the company, and he has insiders in Disney who are providing him this information.
In 2021, he wasn't in charge, but he would have been advising Bob Chapek.
This was during Bob Chapek's reign as CEO, but yeah, Bob Iger was still involved. So here's the exclusive. In January 2021, Disney chairman Bob Iger told employees he was committing the company to taking a stand on politics because of January 6, then praised himself for making Black Panther, which he said was an example of diversity and inclusion.
He's like, well, maybe we got complacent because we made Black Panther.
Let's see the clip.
Let's watch the clip here,
in
guys.
all of its glory. Let's see it.
I mean, Bob has talked about this eloquently.
His stupid cardigan.
CEO. I'll say a couple of things about it. You know, we've tended to shy away from politics. And in doing so, I think we've shied away from talking about issues that aren't political at all, like the issues that we're talking about today. Because we believe in doing so, maybe it looks like we're taking a stand. Well, in that reality, we should be taking a stand. By the way, I take responsibility for this. I was CEO for 15 years. And so I manage the company's public-facing processes and how we were portraying ourselves. And I think that we have to be less cautious, as Bob, I think, was just alluding to, about such things and not be concerned, like just commenting about what happened in Washington last week. That's not political on our part at all. We know that what we saw was fundamentally wrong and that it was rooted in hatred and disrespect and contempt and intolerance. And we should feel free as a company to comment about that without retribution. And another thing I want to say that I've learned these last 9 to 12 months is, I'm very proud of a lot of the work we've done in terms of diversity and inclusion on screen. When we did Coco, for instance, at Pixar, a great example of that, or Tiana, or of course Black Panther is one of the great examples of that. I allowed those things to make me feel a bit complacent in a sense. It's not that I wanted to be that way, but I thought, wow, we did Black Panther. How great are we? And it caused me to not focus as much as I should have on the culture of the company and the environment and in the voices that were telling those stories as opposed to just how they were being portrayed on the screen.
The worst thing I ever did was I did something so right that it made me complacent. That's what he's saying.
He is literally the archetype of a white liberal clapping, patting themselves on the back for giving Black people a movie. He's so detestable, especially because he doesn't look evil. He doesn't look as evil as these other executives.
Yeah, it's very hard to find a photo of him where he looks particularly. There's a couple.
He's always very composed.
Yep. I mean, but that's what people
very
say,
smiley.
right? Like the CEO who's the best at his job is the one who can hide the things that the company is doing
inconspicuous
wrong.
until something like this comes out. And we've gotten 3 years past when this happened, J6 and this dreaded Zoom call, and he's learned his lesson the hard way.
There's a $20 one here from Gordon Shumley. Says Lana Del Rey is not the true tour tortured artist poet or tortured poet. That would be Bob Dylan. Oh wait, Bob Dylan is just a poet, and I'm the one who is tortured when I'm forced to hear his music. I'll see myself out. Yeah,
was that an own on Bob Dylan?
I'm kind of obliged to defend Bob Dylan because he's from Minnesota. So
oh come on. There are plenty of people from Minnesota you wouldn't defend.
I like his song Hurricane, the one about the boxer. Not the last verse, but I like that song. Okay, so here's the thing about Bob Iger. He's lying. He's lying, saying that they suddenly decided to do this in 2021. If you guys remember, when Georgia was proposing, was going through their heartbeat bill, they were like, you know what, we might have to rethink about filming things here in Atlanta because you guys want to have a bill about abortion.
Well, did they follow through on the promise to boycott filming in Georgia?
They still film in Georgia.
So that was just posturing.
They threatened, right? They threatened to try and get them to back down. So even by threatening, it's a political act. Even by saying, we're going to talk about it, that's a political act. It's not just that. We had the tweet from Peachy Keenan, who says, when I was at Disney, there was a project to remove all gendered language from Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo princess salons at the park. We were no longer allowed to refer to girls as princesses. This was in 2018 or 2019. And this goes
Hello,
back,
non-binary royalty.
Yes, correct.
This was in 2018 and 2019. Obviously, the woke agenda at Disney has been going on for longer than just since January 6th going forward. Anyone who's been paying attention, that's obvious. But he also added, it's quite interesting to see the precise moment that Disney went explicitly political. J6, the chairman finally summoned the courage to take a stand, but hubris got the better of him. Business skill does not directly translate into political skill, as the company found out. I see the pattern quite often. Businessmen are titans in their domain, in which quantity rules, but they find themselves out of their depth in the political domain where quality rules. There is no balance sheet in politics. The real measure is created and then contested.
Agreed? Do you think so?
I mean, Bob Iger definitely effed around and found out.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's doing, and then DeSantis slapped him in the face.
Most of this stuff doesn't matter anyways. One of the things that we keep talking about is look, as bad as these movies are that they're making these days, as little money as they're making on them, they're subsidized by the parks, which do still make tons of money. Mm-hmm. Right? But
they started with wokeness in the parks as well. That's not a safe haven from what they put on screen.
No, not
It's
at all.
everywhere. It's in every facet of their business. He also posted another exclusive from 2021 when Bob Chapek announced that the company would create a racial quota for its charitable giving and spend at least $1 billion on diverse suppliers, a euphemism for race-based discrimination against white and Asian-led firms.
Let's watch this clip here.
Bob, I'm curious, the other Bob, this is a bit confusing. We all know money talks, and so many companies put funds towards social justice efforts after George Floyd's murder. And we all know the impact that COVID has had on Disney's businesses.
Just remember that Disney at this time had furloughed thousands upon thousands of workers as their executives all got enormous bonuses. Just as an aside.
And yet, I'm wondering what your thinking is in our overall commitment and investment in the social justice space in terms of philanthropy.
Sure. I really think of it, I guess, in two different ways. Number one is the financial commitment that you referenced, Juju. And we're addressing that in the...
If they ever make a movie about this guy, Dean Norris from Breaking Bad will end up having to play him.
True.
Yep.
Number of different ways. By the end of this year...
But he looks so much cooler than Bob Chapek.
It's kind of like, either Dean Norris or Michael Chiklis will have to play this guy in a movie.
We'll have to put Dean Norris on estrogen.
Yes.
Of our charitable giving will be directed to underrepresented communities, including a new program that invests in underserved youth and hopefully helps create a new generation of diverse storytellers and innovators. Also, I just recently approved a plan to ensure that we reach at least $1 billion in annual spend with diverse suppliers, which nearly doubles our current investment with the diverse community. And while I think those types of things are really important, I firmly believe that the multiplier effect, the leverage, if you will, that we can have with our content far outreaches and will outlast any check that we can write of any amount. We have more influence through the stories we tell and how we tell them than any check that we can possibly write. And as you saw during the slew of announcements that we made at our Investor Day, we're not only increasing the pace of creating new content, as Bob had mentioned, but also increasing the diversity of creators and themes within that content that Carlos and others have talked about today. And I think it's important to realize that what people see reflected on the screen through our experiences and our work have an impact on how they then see themselves and the people around them. And so our stories have a lot of real impact, probably greater than any of us even probably realize.
Okay, so all of that corporate synergistic language was kind of a doozy, but I want to emphasize that quote. We have more influence through our storytelling than any check we could possibly write.
He's right.
And someone in the chat said Chapek was just Bob Iger's puppet. Like Bob Iger was in the background pulling all the strings. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think that Chapek came from the parks, right? And Iger obviously was a far better strategist when it came to how he ran the company. I would imagine that he had a lot more sway than people are willing to admit, which makes perfect sense considering he ended up coming back and taking back control of the company. I don't know how common that is. How common is it for a CEO to step down and then come back as CEO again, especially for a company the size of Disney? But the tacit admission that the stories are far more influential than any of the money, as we know, look at every war that this country has used money to fight. The war on terror, the war on drugs, all of things, the war on poverty. It doesn't do much in the end. The message is far more wide-reaching.
Yeah, with this topic about this radio station not playing Beyonce songs, I said don't assign malice where ignorance is a better explanation. But for this, don't assign ignorance where malice is a better explanation. And it's also right here. We already have the proof. You can't tell us that we're crazy for seeing the messaging and the content. We're not seeing things that aren't there. We're just using what's being sold to us, the products being sold to us as proof. And this Zoom call was just a confirmation of what we already knew about Disney and what was going on behind the scenes.
And the funny thing is you're going to be gaslit. You're going to be gaslit by people telling you you're crazy, nothing has changed. This is one of those things I always point out to you is look, I'm always trying to see is this part of my echo chamber or is it actually like this? And sometimes I can gaslight myself into thinking it's not that bad. You're just kind of overstimulated with information, right? You're over reading into things. You're reading too much into things. That's not the case here. All the evidence is to the contrary. The problem is, and I think Tim has talked about this before, the hardest part, if you're talking to someone about all these things, it's very hard to remember exact dates. It's very hard to remember exact quotes. We talked about the Reimagine Tomorrow thing. I don't remember the name of the lady who gave that seminar, but I know that it happened, right? That's the hard part is people are going to tell you you're crazy. You're not crazy. This stuff is actually happening, and they are using their company, the size of their company, the influence, the reach they have as a political weapon to push an ideology that they believe is one that the public needs. And that very many people, a lot of people are clearly saying, we don't want this. We don't need this in our lives, as the movies show, as the sales of the movies show.
Address that one detail, though. The woman who said that the brand needs to emphasize LGBTQ content in the Reimagine Tomorrow conference said it's because Gen Z is queerer than other generations, which statistics bear that out.
Yep.
Her name is Carrie Burke, the president of Disney General Entertainment Content, suggesting that it made sense for the business to push for more inclusivity, saying, my son texted me this morning, Gen Z is 30 to 40% queerer than other generations, so Disney better get with it.
I love the idea that they think that that's not going to have an effect on birth rates.
She's the one who has a pansexual child, a gay child, a trans child, all of these different gay children.
Unknown. It wasn't Victoria Alonso. Victoria Alonso was Marvel and was in charge of their visual effects, and of course she had a lot to do with it. But this was somebody very specific, and it wasn't a front-facing company member. It was a DEI/HR person, and I didn't remember her name.
Well, it's this president of general entertainment content at Disney, not even a DEI executive. And she also said, I'm here as a mother of 2 queer children, actually. 1 transgender child and 1 pansexual child. So that's the type of person we're dealing with behind the scenes. Also, we didn't get to covering this last week, but thank you. Disney's moving their to an animation studio that's based in Vancouver to make Moana's sequel.
Yep.
And I didn't realize at first why that might be relevant. Film Threat reported it because that was like one of their predictions that came true. But the theory here is that they're outsourcing the animation studio to get out of the insulated woke environment in Burbank, California, where Disney is located. And somehow they'll be insulated from the wokeness at this other location, which I think is ridiculous. I mean, this is all communicated by Zoom and email anyway. So,
but that's
not really an optimistic.
It's going to be cheaper to animate.
It's about cost.
Vancouver.
It's about cost cutting, basically.
All right, let's go ahead and let's go to Super Chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, Happy Wednesday / Valentine's Day / Ash Wednesday. Brett, Mary, and Sarah, Memento Mori. Well, we'll let Sarah know when we see her. Jacob Paradis said, you guys got me. I've been made. Narbar's Candles is just a government plot that's using soy candles to turn all the friggin' frogs gay. Blah.
I always suspected, Jacob. I always suspected.
We caught you. Happy Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Marcos said, have you ever Cupid shuffled?
No.
You haven't? In all your years on this earth, you've never done the Cupid shuffle?
I don't even know what that is.
Well, it was at like every middle school dance.
I didn't go to dances.
No? Never?
I didn't go to prom, didn't go to any. When I was like senior year of high school, I went on like a trip to film for a skate video in California because the price to go do that and stay with like a friend in California was cheaper than what I would have paid to get a tux and rent a limo and whatever stupid kids did for prom.
Shane H. Wilder said, damn, no, Sarah. That's what I get for assuming. LOL.
Well, she'll be back next week. Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact. Why don't you tell everybody what's going on with Kanye?
Yeah, Kanye's new album, Vultures, is now out on streaming platforms, even though he has no record label and has been dropped by his management. And a lot of friends have dropped him as well. It's now hit #1 on the charts, despite all odds. And this raises the question, has Kanye once and for all defeated cancel culture? Is cancel culture officially dead because he can succeed in spite of being canceled by every institution, every celebrity, every person that worked with him before?
Well, he dethroned Taylor Swift from the #1 spot in the charts.
Now, once she puts out this new album, that's going to be history.
But my answer to your question is no. I think that, as we've discussed before, he has a lot more infrastructure underneath him and capital behind his name to allow him to be able to continue to make things in the arena that he wants to, work within, right? Because he has all of the money that he's made over his career. Granted, he lost a whole lot of his net worth when everything happened. But if this happens to the average dude, the dude who supposedly was putting the OK sign outside of his car window when they called his employer, that's the person who has to worry about it.
True.
Not Kanye.
Yeah, despite Kanye's statement that he was 2 months away from going broke before putting out this album. I don't even know what Kanye's metric for what broke even means. Yeah. So that's unlikely to be true. But one report said the implication is that West has gained a level of success and fandom that cannot be erased or reversed. Kanye is, so to speak, uncancelable. He still has tens of millions of listeners and daily streams on Spotify alone, and that was before his most recent album. Vultures is proving contentious, with its original album artwork accused of carrying Nazi connotations. On the lyrical front, Kanye raps in reference to artists convicted and accused of sexual abuse, respectively, R. Kelly, P. Diddy, Bill Cosby. And in a nod to accusations of anti-Semitism, another lyric goes, I'm not anti-Semitic, I just effed a Jewish bitch. And there were other references to Jews in there as well. I think that people thought we were misrepresenting one of his lyrics, though.
Which one?
The one, I believe it's in Carnival. I forget which song it was, but he says, I'm still, quote unquote, bipolar, anti-Semite, crazy, and I'm still the king. That's supposed to be in quotes, like, this is what people say about me, not implying that he thinks that he's those things.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make that clear. But I think that maybe cancel culture was dead anyway, and Kanye didn't have much to do with that.
Yeah.
And even if cancel culture were still, alive, it would only be affecting non-celebrities, as you said.
Far more
people
so.
who have stuff to lose. Because Kanye is acting like someone who has nothing to lose, but he has everything to gain from being as controversial as possible, which is not relatable to the average person.
It also seems to, like, these days more and more people get the memo that apologizing is the worst thing you can do. Like, the ones who actually understand what it means to be attacked for a simple statement or something you said 10 years ago and stuff like that. James Gunn, fired, got a job at DC, and then got his job back at Marvel 2 years later.
I think more than anything, Me Too is dead.
Yeah.
Cancel culture maybe is still like gasping its final breaths.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just made $19 million again in sales from his Yeezy brand.
From his ad at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, his $7 million ad paid itself off in just a few minutes.
Those Super Bowl ads did. Okay, so also the Halo app, right? Also said that they got a huge, boom in subscribers after their Super Bowl ad.
Yeah, so I'm sure it was worth it for them. Kanye's ad was just filmed on his phone. So he didn't have any production costs. He just had the cost of putting it on air. I can't believe that they even gave him a spot, to be honest. That's really surprising.
I love it. Very capitalist.
Very capitalist
Very
of them.
capitalist of them. I support that.
Also,
100%.
this is very confusing. Kanye was recently in a commercial airport. Instead of flying private, he was at LAX, and TMZ was following him around, recording him, and he was answering some of their questions. He said that he doesn't take back the anti-Semitism, which seems to conflict with him putting out that apology in Hebrew. And he said that Vultures proves that he can't be canceled. So I just wanted to take a look at that video.
The whole clip, or are we going to watch the whole thing?
Yeah,
It's
sure.
like 5 minutes long?
I mean, we
Pretty
can
long.
stop it
Yeah.
in the middle.
Okay, hold on.
See ya. You know what it is? We won.
Hey, congrats.
We won. That's it. We did number one. Number one. All over the world.
All over the world.
You know what it is?
He's imitating Trump right now.
I heard
Number
you
one.
They say I have the best
$19 million
album.
off that Super Bowl ad too.
Well, that's the people have always wanted that, and I went to different companies and they would never let me bring it like that. It was always ways that they were blocking us from hitting the prices. So I had to leave from those companies, and I was two months, I'm gonna just be honest with y'all, I was 2 months from going bankrupt.
Really?
And I put everything I had into it. We moved to Italy, we moved to the factories, and we survived. We survived through the cancellation. We're back number one.
Do you think the
For the
controversy
people?
helped you?
It wasn't about the controversy, it was about the ability to say how you felt out loud. And if I didn't have the various skill sets of music and clothing and the fan base, they would have been able to destroy me. But because we had all those skill sets, somehow I'm here inside of this universe, able to fight.
You can't be destroyed. It would
Oddly
have.
enough, at his level, if you didn't have the fan base, they wouldn't consider you worth destroying. Like, it's
Yeah, that's a good point.
it doesn't matter.
But then again, for ordinary people who get canceled, it's not like they have a big support system.
No.
They go to destroy normal people and get them fired from their jobs anyway.
Exactly. But for him, he was not canceled by people on Twitter. He was canceled by corporations who took issue with what he's saying. It's a different thing. It's less of the public witch hunt and more of the corporate response to public statements.
Corporations not wanting to lose investors
Yes.
is a lot different.
So for him, like, his comments would just made less of a splash if he didn't have so many people who paid attention to him.
Also, his cancelable offenses are not exactly just a Google search away when you search his name, as it would be for a normal person.
Yeah,
because you're
because,
just going to see the next headline, whatever is going on with him that day.
The best celebrities who have access to the media will learn how to optimize SEO by, like, oh, look, this story about me, which is not all that flattering, has been in the news too long. Let's feed them something that will get this off the front page.
And maybe that's Kanye's MO when he sees bad headlines about him. He'll just post a picture of his wife being almost naked, and then people will start talking about that.
Which is oddly
It's a
enough,
distraction.
It's less scandalous for those corporations for that to be on the front page than it is the other stuff.
Right, that's what enriches them. So he posted this video on his Instagram sharing that, you know, you shouldn't be mad at him for posting these photos of his wife and you should mind your own business.
Just leave me alone. Here, let's look at this one here.
With these insane grills he's wearing. Look at that. He thinks he looks so cool.
I posted my wife 3 times on purpose. You understand what I'm saying? No. So what I'm saying is, I delivered the album. Then people still in my comments talking about, why are you posting your wife? Because she make me happy. That's why y'all happy with the music, because I'm happy. You understand?
Let him
So don't
live.
ever say nothing negative. If you don't like my page and don't like what I'm posting, go fuck yourself. Seriously. Leave me, leave the king the fuck alone. I don't care, bro. I'm gonna post my wife as much as I want. Go post your wife on your fucking Instagram.
Like, it's that affect he has. It's the reason why people still have affection for him. Like, they still love him.
He also said he's
he's
all in for Trump 2024, so no birthday party candidate this year. That was,
Wait, what?
That was the name of the party he ran under.
Oh, his birthday party.
Birthday party.
Yeah.
So no birthday party candidate this year. It's too bad. That's who I would have voted for.
He's
If
like-
I'm not voting for Fetterman 2024, I'm voting for Kanye 2024.
Kanye definitely seems like he cares, though. He cares what people think. He
Yes.
cares what they're commenting.
A lot of the people who say they don't care, it's like, but you took the time to post this, therefore you at least care a little bit.
He seemed angry. He seemed like he cared. So,
If you
I
didn't
mean,
care,
how
just
can you
wouldn't post
be
it.
his level of celebrity, and he clearly thinks he's very important, and then get mad when people respond to what you're posting?
Yep.
That's kind of bizarre. But also, they asked him for his thoughts on the Israel-Palestine conflict because, of course, we really value what Kanye has to say about that. So, honestly, what he said, I gotta say, it was kind of based.
Here we go.
Your thoughts on the Palestinians?
I don't have enough information on that. I'm
Okay.
straight up from south side of Chicago, born in Atlanta. I don't have enough information. It's love for everybody, but don't pull me to that conversation. I got 14 kids dying every week in my city. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me about that.
Yes.
I think that's a fairly low estimate.
Everyone was commenting like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good response. Kanye, like rare Kanye W.
I don't know about that. Yeah. It's just, it's funny because he is very unfiltered. I think you're right, though. I think the number one takeaway is he does care. He does care. And most people who say, I don't care what you think, but I take the time to actually post that I don't care, means that you probably do, at least a little bit.
Yeah, I also wanted to address Anthony Fantano's review of Vultures. If you guys don't know, this is the Needle Drop on YouTube. He's like probably the biggest channel that does music reviewing.
I did laugh at people saying like his review is irrelevant because he clearly is relevant.
I mean, it got 1.3 million views, so define irrelevant, right?
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
And he is the biggest channel that does music reviews, and he called this album unreviewable and said that basically, you know, you can't just listen to the music and separate art from the artist when it comes to Kanye, because his lyrics are still, you know, like after his apology, he's still making reference to Jews in his music. His ideology is still part of his music because he's a person. You can't exactly separate an art from the artist. And he separated Kanye's fan base into 3 categories. So it was like hateful psychos who actually agree with what Kanye has said. Secondly, nihilistic teenagers who just follow Kanye because it's the thing that you do right now.
I'm guessing he would have the same take on Andrew Tate.
Because it's entertaining.
If Andrew Tate made music.
And then the third category is Kanye cultists who are going to support him no matter what he does. And I think that
I would imagine there's also
there's definitely overlap.
There's got to be a contingent of people who they're not cultists. They just don't care about what he does in his personal life. They just want to listen to music.
But then he would call you a nihilistic teenager.
That's ridiculous.
I was listening to Vultures last night, and I don't really have any, like, I don't feel like if I stream this album, I'm funding hate. Like, I'm just listening to it because I'm curious, and I'm not exactly a cultist fan or a hater either. I don't want to be in either of those groups.
That's
someone
just the cultural
tweeted
design to categorize everybody.
Yeah, someone tweeted about Anthony Fantano's review, calling him a hypocrite because he's reviewed other albums from equally morally questionable people. Reminder that Fantano has done Burzum album reviews, a band led by a literal Nazi who has burnt down churches and synagogues and murdered a man for being homosexual. Fantano is a smug hack telling you what you want to hear for engagement. He has no actual moral backbone. And that's kind of the wall that you run into when you don't separate art from the artist. Because then that has to, it's either all okay or none of it is okay.
Yep.
Every artist out there has their controversies. And for what he does for a living, reviewing their art, not their personalities, that's just a reality that comes with the territory.
That's what I like about our job is it allows us to then go to these movies and, you know, put the feelings about what they have to say away. I think part of it for me is also that, like, I look at when celebrities say something stupid, I look at it with like mild bemusement. Like it'll annoy me sometimes, but usually the environment of a movie is enough to just shake that from my brain anyways. That or there's so many holes in my brain, I just forget half the time. Right? I go to a movie, and whether it's Rachel Zegler or some other actor who said something stupid, it's like, so what? Like, is the movie fun?
Well, I always think that we give a movie a fair chance.
I agree.
Like, we always try to be as objective as possible, and it's not perfect, but, you know, we are that same way with music as well. So, like, from what you've heard of Vultures so far, which, from what I asked you, is very little.
Yeah.
Like, what did you think?
I haven't really, like, I enjoy, like, as far as Kanye in recent years, I can't say that I'm a huge fan of Kanye past. Like, I liked some of Donda, but most of the stuff that I like from him is earlier work anyways. I guess 808s and Heartbreaks, like, 10, 15 years ago now. Wait, 2008, something like that. Like, but other than that, it was more of the protest music and the stuff that he made on race relations and stuff that I actually really, really liked. I think I don't know if it was on this show the other day, but songs like We Can Make It Better, stuff with Talib Kweli, that was the stuff of his that I really, really liked. And it's very, very different from the stuff that came later, at least in tone. So the stuff that I listened to recently, a lot of features and stuff with artists. Like I do like Ty Dolla $ign, for instance, but like most of it I'm just not super interested in.
Yeah, I listened to about half of it so far, and I'm not gonna lie, little parts of it sound like they were made on GarageBand.
I like it.
It's not great.
Funny. It's funny.
It's not great. Like the first track, Stars, was nice, but I mean, I'm not really a huge fan of Kanye in general anyway, so I wasn't expecting to be crazy about it, but I just wanted to familiarize myself first.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I don't think he's in trouble of being canceled, as amorphous of a term as that is. Like, what does that even mean for somebody like him who's reached a level of fame? It's kind of like when Taylor Swift was screwing, she had like her screw ups at the Grammys, you know, where
yeah.
she, like, is that really going to hurt her? No, people will forget in 5 minutes and nobody will care.
The best position you can be in actually is not uncanceled, but post-canceled, because then no one can hurt you. You're immune after that.
In the chat, Tacti Plighty says Brett is pro Summer of Love. No, Kanye's music on race relations and protest stuff was from back in the day, and that's what I like about it. I like the stuff that was created before the current year political climate that we live in, because the stuff that's created in current year just feels forced, because it's so trendy to have an activist mindset towards everything. So to see that stuff created back in the day, like there's a lot of artists like that. I mentioned Talib Kweli, Lauryn Hill, artists who fundamentally on some issues I would agree, on other issues I would disagree. I can still judge that art for what it is because it just feels like it was created at a time where it wasn't trendy to do it. Like I'm more willing to be annoyed by it if I feel like you're doing it just because it's the hip thing to do right now.
Yeah, and that also wasn't current year Kanye.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
It's a different person, really. The last of my kind said, from yesterday, I work in fire EMS. That's why I was in an ambulance. Pro tip, shooting ranges and golf courses are empty today, Kings.
There you go.
Because of Valentine's Day?
They gotta go home to the wife.
Corey Anderson said, I asked because it looks like you have a black eye. Asked what?
What was his previous super chat?
About Mindy?
Jacob says, happy Ash Wednesdays.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Shane H. Wilder said, Mary, hunger striking today seems a bit pointless, seeing as we are fasting today anyway. Or is this a kill two birds with one stone scenario?
It's a very smart way to do it.
Yeah. Corey Anderson said, could just be my phone, though. Okay. Bookstore Thor.
So what did he say? Oh, he said, he previously asked, did Mindy come find you? And then he said, because it looks like you have a black eye. So he's wondering if she found you and caught up with you and punched you in the face.
The ashes are above my eyes, so. Bookstore Thor said, hi, Mary and Brett. Did either of you used to be a spy? I still think of Pedro Pascal as the villain in Burn Notice, Sam Axe movie.
Yeah, look, I only watched Burn Notice, The Fall of Sam Axe twice. My funnier thing from him when he was younger was he played like an FBI agent who was handling Mike Warren in Graceland, and that's the very first role that I ever remember seeing him in. He plays a character named Juan Badillo, and he says everything in just perfect English, but then when he says his name, he's got the accent. Yeah, that's look, I think Pedro can act. I do, but as far as whether he's the right role for Fantastic Four, we'll have to wait and see. I know a lot of people would prefer John Krasinski.
Shane H. Wilder said, Alex Stein did a live stream last night of his cat giving birth. I thought it was a bit, but no, it was an 1.5-hour stream with him commentating. Yeah, I saw that in my recommended feed, and I was like, is that allowed?
Can you show a cat giving birth? Yes, you can.
I didn't really want to see that, though.
Let's do one more.
Left-handed Link said, Mary, lift the bangs, wear your ashes proud. Well, you're not supposed to show them off, right? That kind of defeats the purpose.
I saw Mike Lerner posting about, ashes on Instagram today.
Ash Wednesday selfies are definitely a contentious topic.
Are you pro or anti Ash Wednesday selfie?
Not sure. I'll have to think on that.
Think on that one?
Yeah.
We'll talk about it next year.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you tell us what's going on with actress Phoebe Dynevor and the fact that there just are no roles for hot young women anymore, apparently.
It's so hard to be a hot 28-year-old actress. So this actress, Phoebe Dynevor, is in Bridgerton on Netflix. She's promoting it right now. And in a recent interview, she said that it's hard to be a young woman in Hollywood right now because, as we know, they're prioritizing giving the big roles to older women in order to combat ageism. And this is the main point. When it comes to inclusivity, it's always a zero-sum game. When you give more roles and more jobs to underrepresented groups,
you take it away from another.
You're taking it away from another person. That's how that works. You can't let not everyone can win.
Lest everything become an ensemble cast where 90% of them end up in the background anyways.
Right, which is kind of the case for a lot of these Netflix shows. Yep. But here's what she said in a recent interview with the London Evening Standard. She said, there are limited roles available to women her age. She is 28. She said great parts are out there for male actors and older women, but not for female actors her age. Quote, I've read some great scripts recently. I probably shouldn't be saying this, but there is still not that many parts going. There's such a space for male actors. There are so many of them. They're all great. They're all very talented young men, and they do not stop working, and good for them. But, when I think about the girls my age, there's way more room for male actors, and there is still not enough room for us. It's a really good time for older women, which is amazing, and there's a lot for these young men, but not a lot for the actresses that I know in my age bracket.
Well, here's the funny thing. I was just like, let's Google Hollywood ageism and see what comes up. What could it be? So the first one, again, these are they go by year kind of. Ageism in Hollywood, the worst I've ever seen it. Women in Film Study highlights ageism concerns. 14 women who share their experiences of ageism in Hollywood. Look, you can't win, ladies and gentlemen.
The kvetching about ageism in Hollywood, especially against older female actresses, is nonstop.
Yep.
You never stop hearing about it. Even though it's more inclusive toward them than it's ever been.
It's never enough.
And it's never enough. There's always more work to be done. And this girl, Phoebe Dynevor, she said, I probably shouldn't be saying this. And she was right to think that she would get backlash for saying this, because now everyone is complaining about it.
Michelle Yeoh is laughing at her somewhere, who also was complaining that Michelle Yeoh, who gets a lot of roles, is an older actress, was complaining about what roles she was giving.
They're never the right roles.
They're never the right roles. I don't want to play a grandma anymore. They say, I'm like, well, you're a grandma. You're old. What do you want me to do? Like,
you'll play a teenager then.
And here's my problem with it. It's like, it's actually more the fault of Hollywood's lack of creativity and ability to write. You know why? Because they can write fairly competent, or at one point they used to be able to write fairly competent roles about grandmas and mothers. What interesting story are they going to tell about an old ass lady that has none of those factors involved? Now, they did it with her. They did it with Everything Everywhere All at Once, so it still involves elements of that. For the most part, you're more hampered by the types of things they choose to make stories about than you are about whether they're actually going to give roles for women that are interesting. It's just that's not what sells. Whatever art house garbage you think would be fun to make isn't going to make them any money back.
Right. And that's not even to mention the fact that Michelle Yeoh has a heavy accent that she hasn't changed for any movies, at least not that I've seen.
Somebody mentioned Glenn Close. Look, Glenn Close had a renaissance in Hollywood several times over. If you have never seen Damages, go and watch Damages with her and much younger actress Rose Byrne.
Look,
that was in 2007.
I'm constantly hearing about Jennifer Coolidge and about Jamie Lee Curtis and about Michelle Yeoh and all of these other actresses, Meryl Streep, all of them. They're getting plenty of work. And I think that this girl had a good point, and it's going totally over people's heads. Someone responded, not 20-something Miss Bridgerton saying it's a bad time to be a hot young actress and all the good parts are for older women, when this is demonstrably untrue, LMAO. Another one said 50% of roles are for pretty young white women. WTF is this?
We've talked endlessly on this channel about how we know for a fact that is simply not true anymore.
Especially the white part. Yeah. If you're white, you are going to have a harder time getting roles than if you're a minority.
We got a $20 one here from Mike. He says, got a picture of her. She's not someone I know just by name. I feel this way about a lot of actors and actresses.
Well, that's the case for any of the younger crop of actors and actresses who... they're not going to make it A-list.
This was basically one of my favorite responses on Deadline. Said, has no one explained to her the blame is on the sexism in the industry and the world as a whole, and not on older actresses getting parts as they should? And that the older actresses don't have a lot of opportunity, as it is well documented. My God, do 5 minutes of research before saying something publicly. And then somebody underneath says, she didn't blame older actresses at all. She said she's happy for older actresses having new opportunities. Really, how could you have misinterpreted this?
Well, she only said that because she has to say that, right?
Somebody says, I am personally extremely grateful that there are more older women because I too am an older woman, 52 in fact. Seeing women my age and older play substantial acting roles is a godsend. This helps us feel normal. It helps us feel included. It's a great thing. I hope it doesn't stop. If you need Hollywood to make you feel normal and included, you got bigger problems. I'm sorry.
I love seeing old, shriveled up, wrinkly women like me in movies. The best part was
the next comment down is like somebody, it's probably Dane hating boomers, who says, so basically your generation will never give young people any power in any capacity when clearly the world wants progress, but you won't let it.
The world is losing its mind.
Yes.
Another one said, F off, mainstream film production is like one of the only spaces where ageism is a legitimate concern, and I assure you, it is not because young people are getting the shaft. Maybe you just aren't good enough. Maybe you need to broaden your horizons.
Or maybe the actresses need better agents. They need to read for different roles and stuff like that.
You know what?
Also plays.
I think that Phoebe Dynevor needs to come out as bisexual or non-binary, shave her head, get some face piercings and some tattoos, gain a little bit of weight, and then Hollywood will be just breaking down her door. They will be calling her, and her agent will be too busy.
And we're mentioning like older women. This is not including the Jennifer Lopez's, the Sofia Vergara's, the Jennifer Beals, who don't even look their age.
Oh, yeah.
Who are in their 60s, who look like they're in their 30s. Who are still going to get roles and stuff like that.
And basically all of the roles that would have gone to women in their mid-20s are now going to women in their mid-30s. Yep. That's just a fact.
And so you as activists push for this, and now you're mad when it happens. Sucks to suck. Like
Yeah.
you've also, but it goes back to you mentioned here that there was the article about like the creepiness, the age gap factor in all of this stuff. There's just all sorts of handcuffs, for lack of a better term, that are put on the casting now. Like you said, there is now going to be a Best Casting Director award at the next Oscars. I don't think it's this year. I think it's the year after, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all these categories, everything today has been politicized when it comes to how a movie is cast, right down, not just to the ethnicity, not just to the race or any of this stuff. What is the age of the person? What is the background of that person? Do they have the requisite experience to be able to properly represent this character?
What is their
in the
disability
movie?
status?
Yes, all of this stuff. And you think they're going to get all of this right all the time? I would much rather jump off a bridge than have to be involved in the
it's
10
like,
years ago, 20 years ago, I would have loved to have been involved in the casting of Hollywood movies. I would have loved to have been able to be given like a blank check by a studio to work with a director to go find the best talent for each movie. That would be freaking awesome. It's never going to be that way again. There's too many rules.
all of those actresses you mentioned who are in their 40s and 50s, Jennifer Lopez, Sofia Vergara, Jessica Biel. You could even say like Jennifer Garner as well. All of these women, they look great for their age. They came up in Hollywood at a time when Hollywood still cared about actresses being hot.
Yep.
And now there's a war on hotness in Hollywood, such that all of the new young actresses are, you know, unfortunately less attractive than their previous
I don't know if look, I
counterparts. No, it's true.
I believe that Hollywood focuses on less attractive actors now. I think that, like, when I think of an Ana de Armas or I think of an Isa Gonzalez, when I think of even the one that I mentioned earlier, Isabella Merced, like, there's still plenty of beauty out there. But the ones that you're naming are the ones that rose to the top of their respective classes, right? They're the ones who set themselves apart and became true celebrities by name.
Oh, another Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that there is a significant barrier if you're actually attractive and trying to make it in Hollywood. I do. I think that I think that you know, average or below average actresses and actors are being prioritized over attractive ones.
And the other thing is, like, maybe it's a little bit of that, but it's also just the overabundance of content being made means that nobody stands out. When most of these people are getting their shine off of a Netflix series or something that's a limited run on HBO in a time when HBO doesn't have the same level of status that it used to, when it used to be a really, really big thing. I started rewatching The Wire recently. Michael B. Jordan is like 2 years old in that. Like, this is in 2001, 2002. He's an A-list actor now, right? Took time to build that profile. But there was a lot less opportunities back then. So with less opportunities meant that when you got one, if you stood out and you set yourself apart from the pack, it was a pretty good chance that you were going to make it in the industry. Now you can get a role on a big show on one of these streaming services and never really stand out from anything because there's just so much content. Nobody's ever gonna see it.
That's the thing. Phoebe Dynevor is Netflix famous. Yes. I like that term because it's true. Like, yep. I mean, Bridgerton is supposed to be one of the biggest shows on Netflix, and nobody you know has watched it. You haven't watched it, and nobody in your social circle has watched it. It's weird, right? You can be in all the headlines, and no one knows who you are.
10 years prior, it would have been Downton Abbey, and people actually watched Downton Abbey.
That's something that you could actually ask your friend about, and they were like, oh yeah, I did see the first season. That's not a thing anymore. Also, just last month, Emma Stone commented on this, ageism in Hollywood. She recalls an executive telling her it's a sprint, not a marathon for women in Hollywood.
Maybe 10 years ago, that would have been true.
She called that advice total garbage.
10 to 20 years ago and past, that would have been true. Not anymore.
Well, also, I mean, for someone like Emma Stone, maybe some people will disagree with me on this, but she's aged like 5 years in the span of 20 years.
Yeah.
And that means she can play younger roles still.
Yeah.
It's a case-by-case basis.
Yep.
And that awful diagram I sent you was about the half your age plus 7 rule and whether that bears out in Hollywood, you know, the relationships that are depicted in big movies.
the other day.
They showed like a creepy zone and then the half your age plus 7 zone, and most of them are in the creepy zone.
I was watching old episodes of Veronica Mars yesterday, and there's a scene where the character of Logan, he's a high school senior, and he's sleeping with his best friend's stepmom, played by Cordelia from
Okay, not the same character, but the same actress.
Same actress. Charisma Carpenter. And during the thing, like during one of their intimate scenes, he basically like mentions that he's in high school, and she goes, "Could you not? It's giving me the." Basically said, "You're giving me the ick." And then she's like, "You're the first younger guy that I've slept with," and the whole thing is just like played as completely normal because she's a trophy wife, so she's closer to his age, right? The whole thing. Yeah, they definitely fall more in the creepy scale here for this one.
It's insane how we live in a totally different reality than some of these people, because they're all commenting like, you're white, you have tons of roles, yes. You're privileged, they're trying to cast white people, and it's like, have you been paying any attention?
No, they have not.
Like every day we have a new example of the fact that Hollywood is explicitly anti-white and trying explicitly to not cast white people. And the only white people who are still getting cast are basically grandfathered in.
It would also be interesting to look at this graph. How many, like, they're showing you the actual age gaps between the actors and between the two actors. What if the character's playing an older character, or the guy is playing a younger character, right? Is the age gap in the movie that they're playing as pronounced?
Yeah, right? I don't know. They showed
for instance, in American Gangster, they referenced Denzel Washington and the actress. I think that's based on a true story, so the age gap makes sense.
The non-creepy age gaps that they mentioned were from Mamma Mia, Pierce Brosnan 55 and Meryl Streep 59, and Before Midnight with Ethan Hawke 43 and Julie Delpy 44.
Look, I'm sorry, but it was Pierce Brosnan and who? And Meryl Streep. Pierce Brosnan right now looks infinitely better for his age than Meryl Streep does. Sorry, it's the fact of the matter.
That's kind of the way that nature works.
Yep.
Also, they mentioned Memento as not creepy because Guy Pearce is 33, Carrie Ann Moss was 33.
Entrapment, 39-year age gap.
Good Will Hunting because Matt Damon was 27, as was Minnie Driver. Titanic because Leo was 23, Kate Winslet was 24. So Kate Winslet is just on the cutoff for who Leonardo DiCaprio would date today.
Yep.
I just thought that was just a diagram, a graph from hell.
Yep. Let's go to Superchats and we'll hang out. If we finish through all of them, we'll hang out with you guys.
Okay, Corey Anderson said Robert dodged a bullet. Who is Robert?
I don't even remember what we were talking about in that one.
Okay.
So far back.
Shane H. Wilder said one word for these magazine covers. Blech.
Oh, Robert Pattinson. Referring to Robert Pattinson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a word, but just a disgruntled sound. Shane H. Wilder, give a whole new meaning to Cocaine Bear.
Let's go! Yeah, the Peru Cocaine Bear,
yeah.
Peru edition.
Cocaine Bear.
Yep.
Pat the Plumber said Outer Range is a great Josh Brolin show.
Bro, I got through like one episode and I was like taping my eyes open. It was so boring.
Sounds like a you problem.
Yes, it was. It wasn't for me. Maybe it gets better farther down the line, but I didn't enjoy it all that much.
Bucky Ducky said imagine being arrested by a furry. Well, if that guy is a furry, consider me pro-furry.
There you go.
Corey Anderson said, Mary, if you were my neighbor, I'd let you borrow a cup of milk. Brett, stay off my property. LOL, JK.
It's just rude, bro.
Damn.
It's just rude.
Bucky Ducky said, if I wanted to play games, I'd get on Halo. This is why these women are in a situationship. The only men playing these games want an easy smash.
Yep, you gotta hold off on the whole sex right away thing. Otherwise, they're not going to value your time, your attention, or your presence.
Situationship is such a flattering way to put it when you could just call yourself what you are, a booty call.
There you go.
That used to be a thing in the 2000s.
Speaking of which, guys, I'm going to end the poll before people start yelling at me to make sure that I remember.
Yes.
What's worse? 65% of you say Galentine's Day.
What do you think?
Galentine's Day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think Friendsgiving is worse because often the Friendsgiving is at the expense of Thanksgiving.
Yes. Okay. No. You might be right. Maybe I'm just a little bit biased because just happened. Okay. Yeah. I think Friendsgiving is worse.
Because Thanksgiving, it's a national holiday.
Yes.
Valentine's Day is
right.
you can acknowledge it or not.
You are right.
I would say Friendsgiving is worse, especially because of Thanksgiving. Bucky Ducky said, I'm not with Corey. Mary, get your own damn milk. I didn't ask anyone for milk.
It's true, she did not.
Who said I needed any? Shane H. Wilder said there have been real black country musicians, Charlie Pride, for example, that have had airplay for ages. The Bey-hive just wants to complain.
Or Darius Rucker in modern times,
True.
right? Hootie and the Blowfish to Darius, to being a solo artist. That's we used to be a country.
A proper country.
We used to be a proper country.
Yurishima Otaru said, Beyonce doing country music, more like country music.
Country music?
Gordon Shumway, sorry, we already read that one. The Ninja from Pop Culture Planet said, hey guys, so a random thought I had today. Since Twitter is now X, does that mean the Twitter files are now the X files?
Let's go! If only that had been the name of them.
What are the Twitter files?
That was all of the documents that were released about censorship that Elon released. Remember that?
I didn't.
That was a big deal.
I didn't remember those.
And it
were
was
called
Matt Taibbi and stuff like that.
It's an inside joke just for Elon and himself.
Yeah.
But did you see that he accidentally posted his alt account?
No.
Where he acts like a child?
That's awesome. That's awesome. What was it called?
I don't remember the username. But he's in character as a child using Twitter.
My conspiracy theory is the Elon Musk parody account is actually Elon Musk.
That would make sense.
I would love that to be true.
Yeah. Robert Cochran said Tucker and Posobiec, their new album Zion Ranch. What?
We can do that. Tucker and Posobiec, that's their new album. They'll make a country one.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, I will not Cupid shuffle, do the Macarena or the chicken dance, and the foxtrot can F off.
I will do none of those. You shan't make me dance.
I think we might have missed this $20 one from Demo.
Oh!
John Stewart pulling a Bob Iger, pulling a Steve Jobs.
My apologies. I'm sorry about that. I missed that one.
I'm not sure I quite get what you mean.
John Stewart is back now in The Daily Show.
So... Wait. So
I don't get
he's
the
pulling a
reference.
Bob Iger because Bob Iger came back to Disney.
Oh, yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
How does this relate to Steve Jobs? I don't know.
Steve Jobs did the same, I guess.
Yurishima Otaru said Fantano acted anti-cancel, then went full cancel.
There you go. Again,
I've never paid close attention to Anthony Fantano, so.
I only said, the reason I said, saying he's irrelevant is a little bit ridiculous when you get that many views for one review, even if you disagree with them. I don't even know who the guy is.
Yeah, I think that it makes a lot more sense to watch reviews for TV shows or movies than it does for music. Because, for music, you either listen to it and like it or you don't.
Yeah.
You don't need someone to give you the technical know-how on it. The Last of My Kind said 10-gallon yarmulke look like a bruise from Tom and Jerry.
10-gallon yarmulke would be a great band name, too. Just like I said, I saw somebody on Twitter the other day had the name Domestic Tourist. I think the Domestic Tourists would be a great band name.
You're wrong about that.
I'm not.
Drewish AF said Shapiro would be a Florida Georgia line because he lives in Florida and he's Jewish. Get it? Mikey, Jocko Saint Rap said Happy Valentine's, Mr. Bocus.
And Mr. Bocus says Happy Valentine's Day to you as well.
Yes. Shane H. Wilder said DEI has ruined films. Just hire the best actor or actress for the job.
I agree.
Well, I mean, haven't they never done that? Because it's always about who you know.
There's a lot of it is still who you know.
Basically.
But...
or nepotism and...
But
sleeping with Harvey Weinstein helps too.
It's also part of it is you're kind of it kind of ruins it for you when you realize that once you pay attention to this stuff you can't unsee it.
What I want to know is who replaced Harvey Weinstein, because we certainly don't know who it is.
Yeah.
We don't know his name, but he's definitely out there, right?
It's
still a practice that actresses sleep with producers and directors to get roles.
I would imagine.
That has not gone away. You could never convince me that that's a thing of the past in Hollywood.
There's two more there.
Corey Anderson said, you see the chick that got called out for breastfeeding a fake baby to get around Instagram's TOS and linked to her OF? Name is Gallons of Sarah?
Oh.
That's disgusting. And no, I did not see that.
And I'm glad that I didn't.
And I'm glad I didn't. Ew.
Somebody says kosher cowboy.
I'm going to add that to my OF horror stories list. The Manic Mustache said, just wanted to wish a happy Valentine's to my wife. Happy Valentine's Day, Mrs. Mustache. And a productive Lenten season to all the crisis actors.
And a productive season to you as well, sir.
Do we have more?
No, we're just going to hang out now. We're going to hang out. I want to see what... Somebody says kosher cowboy. That'd be a great name for Ben Shapiro.
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I just want to see what everyone's doing today. I thought I saw people talking about Outer Range. I really didn't like that show. There was just something about it. That slow pacing just doesn't work for me. I just went back after I put it on for 5 minutes, made it through 5 minutes, had to go do something, came back, made it through about another 20 minutes, and then I just put on old episodes of Longmire.
I mean, you don't have the best attention span in the world.
No, I have the worst attention span in the world. So slow is not easy for me to get behind.
Yeah, like... And I don't either. Like, I don't think I could get through 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Bucky Ducky says, speaking of OF list, Mary, when does it drop?
I'm still working on it. The unfortunate thing is that as soon as I publish it, I'm sure there will be 10 more that I wish I added.
Yeah.
And I want to add my own opinions and editorializing, not just... a list of things to lower your faith in humanity and just like drop that bomb on you and leave. So yeah, hopefully within the next month, I'll get that done.
It's going to be very extensive.
It's a thing to spend my weekend on.
Yep. Somebody says Buckaroo Ben. That would be what Jordan Peterson would call him. Bucko Ben.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing is, he can talk fast, which makes him a rapper, but I don't know if he has a good singing voice.
You can slow him down.
They might have to use AI for that.
Yep. Shane H. Wilder says, will the OF book be available in hardback or paperback when you publish it?
It'll end up being longer than War and Peace.
Probably. Very true.
When it's all said and done.
And it should be called We Live in a Society.
Mm-hmm.
The OF horror stories to what was it?
Horror? OF horror stories that will send chills down your dick. I don't know. That just made me laugh.
And then Corey Anderson says, do a series then, Mary.
Like videos or like a serialized set of articles about them? I guess I could do that. Yep. Yeah. Like for each category of story.
Yep.
This is like the blackmail one, and then this is the stalking one, and this is the... et cetera, et cetera.
All right.
The murder story deserves its own
video.
That is like the craziest shit.
And they'll
I've
never promote that stuff because they want to promote OnlyFans as if it's a really good idea for everyone.
I wouldn't highlight that story to be intellectually dishonest and tell people, if you make an OF, you're going to get strangled. Like, that's obviously not true, but why are these stories not getting more attention? Because that's one that you can't argue is in the headlines for promotional purposes. This girl's already dead. She can't gain anything from you knowing about this.
Correct. Yeah.
That's why it was like striking to me that I didn't see that before.
Pat the Plumber says, we need a Cast Castle bit where Brett gets shocked and can only electric slide, not walk. I'm not sure why this happened, but I'd love it.
We need a Cast Castle bit where you're like doing tricks in Heelys.
It's never going to happen.
You need Heelys.
I'm not going to get into Heelys.
Why? What's your shoe size?
7.
7 in men's?
Yes.
Or okay. Yeah. I'll look for those.
I'm not going to wear them. I will not wear them. Now, if you could find me...
But if I buy them for you, then you kind of have to.
If you could find the rare ones that were the Soaps Heelys combo, where it's like Heelys and grind shoes, I might wear those for a day.
Okay, yeah. I'll look.
Bucky Ducky says, make it a picture book.
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that.
Corey Anderson says, do y'all's significant, I'm assuming SO means significant others, or family listen
in Super Chat? I know my brother listens to the show.
Yeah. Oh,
almost every day.
Okay, so Colonel Kurtz told me this funny story where she said like she had her mom listen to the episode that she was on here. She goes, "What did you think?" She goes, "Well, other than it being the most annoying experience I've ever had in my entire life, you did great."
See, our own viewers know that it's annoying, but they love that about it.
Exactly. It's what we have going for us. We're hitting the annoying demographic, like the demographic that wants to be purposefully annoyed.
Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder says, "Bad Bucky Ducky, bad."
Yeah, we're not going to be showing any of their OF content. No. if I have anything to say about it.
Yeah, it's and as for my family, my dad may have watched a clip if I sent it to him once. Otherwise, he just, when we talk, he asks how's work going. I tell him how work is going.
Well, what do you say then?
I go, work's fine. I go, fine, working a lot. And then we move on to the whatever we talk about next. I don't really talk about my job all that much because I don't know how to explain it to people. And so, yeah, it's good. It's fine. I never have like particularly like strong opinions on it. Like when it's going bad or like when the show's in a valley rather than a peak, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. When it's going well, I'm like, yeah, it's fine. It's good. It's great.
Might be better to just remain neutral no matter what's happening.
Carnell says, Brett, did you ever see Keanu Reeves' Constantine? What do you remember about the movie if you did, and would you recommend it to Mary? I have seen it. It was a very long time ago.
Is this a biopic about?
No, it's a comic book character.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, this is like
Matt Ryan went on to play
Constantine.
Matt Ryan went on to play Constantine in the Arrowverse. But yeah, I don't remember much about it. I remember more like about that time period of movies like Devil's Advocate and stuff like that. But I didn't have a particularly strong attachment to it. I wasn't one of those people who got really excited when there was all of those rumors going around that Keanu Reeves was going to play Constantine again. But it is a serious film. It takes itself seriously. So it would be cool perhaps to see a comic book movie once again actually take itself seriously rather than make everything a joke every 5 minutes.
If there were a biopic about the actual Constantine, I would watch it.
There you go.
Unless that already exists.
Could.
Tell me if it does.
All right. The Manic Mustache says, Brett should start an OF. Let's go. ? Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants that, my friend, so don't worry about it. And one more from Bucky Ducky says, don't shame me for liking boobies, Shane.
Is there a fight going on? Do we need to break you up?
There's a fight going on. So, all right. Before we go, guys, would you hit the like button on this video and would you subscribe to this channel? If you have not subscribed here already, we're on our way to 101,000 subscribers, right? So, we got one more here from Gal Gadurp says, size 7, Brent, were you caught up in Japanese foot binding or something? I struggle to find shoes in size 15 and will consider shaving my toes if 7s abound.
Size 15 is crazy. Hello, chair.
Hello, chair. No, okay, so here's the thing. My shoe size will actually fluctuate specifically in the summer because when I'm skating a lot,
your feet get bigger?
No. Okay, so when you skate, you always want smaller skates because smaller materials means lighter and easier to maneuver in. So I could get into skates as small as a 6.5 at one point from a brand like Solomon, which had thinner liners. And actually made half sizes, but most in general, I would have to size to I would start at a 7. But I've had to wear shoes as big as an 8 or a 9 sometimes, depending on if it was a pair of Vans, it would have to be like a 9 because they run so small. But in general, smaller feet was a huge positive in skating, as well as being short, low center of gravity. Skates are lighter, so it was always a benefit for me. But no Chinese foot binding for me.
If you ask Tim about women having an advantage in skating due to having a lower center of gravity, he will launch on a 20-minute long rant.
Yeah, I would disagree with him. Also, but he's talking about skateboarding, which is different. I don't understand.
Would you say women have an advantage in rollerblading then?
No.
That's still not true.
No, it's not. I don't believe so.
Yeah.
No. First of all, just the virtue of the injuries being far more prevalent and easier to injure yourself because of your muscle attachments and your bone density. No, I would disagree with that personally. There's one more here from the last of my kind. Says Taco Bell R&D is a very real job, FYI. #dream job.
Research and development in the test kitchen.
Somebody says bread is a grower in the summer. No, when you skate a lot, your feet actually swell because it's hot out, and you're basically putting them into something and you're buckling them in. Your feet start to swell, so it's not something on purpose, but you shove your feet into a smaller skate so that you can have lighter feet. And then one more here from High Voltage 75 says, Mary, have you ever tried rollerblading?
I definitely have, but not in like a serious way. And then I had to use quads to film something for Cast Castle last year, and they told me I was a natural. So
there you go.
I'm gonna tell myself that for the rest of my life.
They're saying get Zia Land on to talk about plastic surgery.
Who is that?
I think that's who I was on the podcast with, Camelot. I think that's
okay.
I think. Maybe. I don't know. We'll wait and see. We got about a month booked out right now.
Yeah,
right?
We try to stay a month ahead.
Yep. Nathan Creel says Brett's trying to convince us that he's actually a size 9. LMAO. No, Vans shoes run small. In general, no. Always size 7 for almost everything. Though for a lot of years, I just wore moccasins everywhere. Slip on and off.
Disgusting.
Yep.
What is it with... I'm sorry, I don't know why I fixated on this, but Walter White always is wearing moccasins.
Love moccasins.
Breaking Bad. Why?
Love moccasins.
He's like obsessed with wearing moccasins.
It's just the ease. It's just easy.
Yeah.
Yep, I love it.
He's a man on the go.
Well, for like in skating, the best part was like because like you're going from spot to spot and you're taking your skates on and off, so you don't want to have to then put on like shoes that you have to tie. So you slip the moccasins on, go to the next spot, slip them off, put the skates on, go about your day.
That's what slip-on Vans are for.
I never wore low top shoes ever.
Yeah.
Yep. All right,
Ducky also said, "Don't do it. Rollerblading is scary. I fell once." Well, Brett can't relate. He's never fallen ever.
I've fallen plenty, but I've also been doing it for 25 years, so it's a little bit different of an experience.
If you had to guess how many times you've fallen, would it be in the hundreds?
Be in the
thousands?
Probably the hundreds of thousands.
Not the hundreds of thousands.
It would be in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I mean, also, but the difference is like, do you mean like actually fall off your feet, or just miss a trick and land on your feet? The number would be significantly less if we were just talking about missing a trick and not falling over a lot. That's just a missed trick. It's not the same thing as falling.
You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
There's one more here from Pat the Plumber. Thank you, Hiroshima Utaru, for saying that I missed that one. It says, Brett, when you marry a Bladey, will you do your first dance in Blades? Okay, here's the thing.
That would be so cringy. Do it.
Hell for me is like getting in a relationship with somebody who loves the exact same thing you do. Like, the last thing I want to do is get in a fight with like your girlfriend and then say, I'm going skating to cool off. And then her like, I'm coming too.
You're assuming that there's going to be fighting.
Yes, because I'm a human being and people fight at least once in a while.
I don't like that fighting is very like normalized, like screaming at someone.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying you get into a heated disagreement. You're like, look, I got to cool off. I'm going to go and do my own thing. She's like, well, I'm coming with you.
Well, then just say no.
Say no.
Go to different places.
I enjoy to have separate hobbies from the people that I've dated, always.
You're like, don't touch my special hobby.
Literally,
it's for me.
Exactly. All right, one more here from Shane H. Wilder says, Taco Bell did a live stream product announcement. That's awesome.
Well, what is it? You're leaving us hanging like that?
Yeah.
Is it something worse than the Baja Blast pie?
That was awful.
Like, how can it get any worse than that?
People were asking earlier about Valentine's Day plans. We're going to
We have to see Madam Web.
Yeah.
That's the depressing reality. That's our Valentine's Day.
Just think, because we're over there doing it for it. There's going to be some sad actual couple in there
who thought like, this is going to be great.
No, like what's going to happen is they're going to break up afterwards because the girlfriend's going to be like, I can't believe you drove me to this movie on Valentine's Day and made me watch this.
I bet you just wanted to see it for Sydney Sweeney anyway.
It's like, so I have to come here and look at Sydney Sweeney's titties on Valentine's Day, the woman says.
Yeah.
All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel, please, if you haven't already. If you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you prefer to listen rather than watch. And if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We got one more here from Shane H. Wilder says, it's a lot of things. It was an hour and a half.
An hour and a half of new Taco Bell.
New Taco Bell.
That makes me excited. Also, did we just reach a third party?
Yes, we did. We can hang out.
Or should we do a post-credit scene?
Guys, what would you like? Would you like me to
There's plenty of time because Madam Web is way late at night.
That was the
only
part.
showing.
8:50 is the movie, which means that I'm already resentful of having to go to the theater at 8:50 at night on a Wednesday. Also on a Wednesday and not a Thursday, because at least when the movie goes on a Thursday night, that means when I come to work the next day, it's Friday.
Yeah, we're just SOL here.
I like how we just sound like such whiners. Like we just
it's
sound
so
like,
hard to see a movie.
We sound like such whiny babies. I apologize, guys.
In a nice cushioned seat with heated seats and popcorn and fries.
Yep. Oh, one more here from Bucky Ducky. Says, third party, let's go. Well, it's going off right now. All right, guys, we will be back with another episode on Thursday. We will see you then.
Bye.
Bye, guys. I'm going to read the last one here from Stephen Kralik. It says, you'll watch Madam Web to make fun of the terrible acting and woke plot. I'll watch Madam Web because of Sydney Sweeney has some... You want to say that again, Mary? I have no idea how to pronounce that. We are not the same. With that being said, guys, we will see you tomorrow. Bye.